Steve Gamache here with a Chef Knives to Go quick look product video on the Nishida Gyuto Gyuto 240mm knife. And this line of knives has a core steel of Shirogami white paper #1 carbon steel for great edge taking and easy sharpening. The heat treat rating on that reactive core steel is about Rockwell 61. And the construction is a soft iron reactive cladding over the top of each side of that. And that has a kind of a semi-smooth Kuda-uchi or blacksmith finish with some embossed kanji on the left side of the blade. So it's kind of refined a little bit, not super duper rustic, but it's a nice finish. And that gives way to the grind, so you can see the Kasumi kind of bead blasted finish here going into the edge core steel, and pretty generous edge there as far as how the knife is ground. It's ground very nicely. You can see a little patina there developing, so there's the beginnings of a patina from just testing it out in some ingredients. The weight on this knife, this is a hefty blade. That is their style, and this has some beef to it. So it's 245 grams, 8.6 ounces. You feel like you have a real knife in your hand when you're using this thing. The blade length is right around 240, a little over, and the overall length is about 15.6, so it's a pretty substantial blade. The spine thickness above the heel chin area of the knife is about 4 millimeters, and then tapers down just a little bit. It holds quite a bit of thickness all the way down until you hit the grind of the knife right here, boom, and it thins out. And the height is about 52.7 on this one. All these dimensions and weights will vary from knife to knife since they are handmade. The handle is a basic octagonal ambidextrous stained and lacquered handle with a kind of a shiny lacquer finish. You can sand this down if you want to get a little more grip, because it can get a little slippery when wet. The circumference right about here is 3 1/8, so it's a little bit oversized from some, but it fits the knife well. The neck is not too wide, so you get plenty of clearance for your fingers. It's a pretty tall blade, as you can see. Let's see, balance point is going to be fairly far forward because it is a heavy blade and a pretty light handle, so right about there. And pinch grip's back here. So this one is a weight forward balance style blade, and it does have a lot of chopping power. The arc of the edge profile is pretty flat. Their style is kind of a sheep's foot point, so it doesn't really sweep up a lot with the belly. It sweeps down from the tip, almost a little bit of a Santoku style, so that results in pretty flat profile overall. And this one's a bit more of a continuous curve with a little bit of flat area towards the heel. Let's put it on our illustrator board here and see what it looks like. So this particular one has a real smooth roll right into the heel. You don't really slam into a heel. The heel's not super long, but gentle curve throughout. Rocks really nicely. You can't go over too high stuff. You can get about right there before you start digging the tip in on the board. So, but it's a real sweet profile as far as general use, and if you like a kind of a gentle rocker. Fit and finish is very good on these blades considering the rustic appearance, and they've got nicely relieved sanded choil neck areas and spine. You do not need to do a thing to these out of the box except to sharpen them. Out of the box edges are okay. Not a lot of bite. I give maybe a 4 out of 10, but they can use definitely a sharpening, and they sharpen up very easily, and they get real sharp. Performance, I was pleasantly surprised. This is a big, heavy knife. It's pretty thick, but they've ground these pretty well, so overall, it's a fairly nice performing knife. It's no laser, and it's not going to just blow through product, but it's a fun knife to use, and if you're looking for a knife that's kind of old school, heavy, old school looking knife, and just to go through some product and get some weight behind it, this is a really good blade. So it doesn't wedge too much, and it's fairly non-stick because of the grind that they've got on the blade with some curvature to it. And so it's a good knife. I really like it. So their knife line I'm pretty impressed with their knife line. So good solid 240. Nishida Kuda-uchi Gyuto 240mm knife.